Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today we are digging deep into La vera storia di OpenAI, da organizzazione no profit a colosso da miliardi di dollars. That's right, we're tracing the true story of OpenAI, mapping its wild journey from an idealistic nonprofit to a literal billion-dollar giant. It's a story that has fundamentally altered the trajectory of human technology. So it's kind of the ultimate tech paradox, isn't it? How exactly does a small, open-source research lab manage to completely flip the world on its head and become one of the absolute most valuable companies on the planet? Well, let's follow the data and find out. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 5 distinct phases. 1, the origins of OpenAI. 2, the 3 fundamental pillars. 3, the 2019 turning point. 4, the era of GPT models. And 5, the global impact of AI. Let's get right into it. Starting off with Section 1, the origins of OpenAI. Okay, so the whole story officially kicks off on December 11th, 2015. And look, this was absolutely not your typical 2 guys in a garage startup. This was a literal supergroup of Silicon Valley titans. We're talking Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Reid Hoffman, Peter Thiel, and Jessica Livingston. The big takeaway here? The sheer wealth these founders had already generated meant they could bankroll this new vision with massive initial investments. They literally had the capital to dream as big as possible right out of the gate. Let's move on to Section 2, the 3 fundamental pillars. You know, what's really fascinating is that they initially designed OpenAI as a strict nonprofit. Their stated mission was to ensure artificial intelligence benefits all of humanity. And they built this on 3 major pillars. First up, openness. They wanted open innovation and open source models. Second, safety, which meant securing user interactions and data. And third, transparency. They basically positioned themselves as the open, transparent alternative to the big, opaque tech giants. Keep this idealistic foundation in mind because things are about to change pretty drastically. But hey, high-minded philosophy requires some serious hardware, right? In this totally pivotal moment in 2016, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang personally hand-delivered the very first DGX-1 supercomputer to OpenAI. Why does this matter? Well, training large language models requires analyzing just massive amounts, petabytes of unlabeled data. This singular gift from NVIDIA is what actually unlocked OpenAI's ability to process the incredibly complex models they were dreaming up. Which brings us to Section 3, the 2019 turning point. Facing the frankly astronomical computational costs required to compete with behemoths like Google, OpenAI quickly realized that relying on donations simply wasn't going to cut it. So in 2019, under CEO Sam Altman, they made a huge pivot. They transitioned from a pure nonprofit to a highly unusual capped profit model. This meant creating a for-profit arm where investors could earn up to a staggering 100 times their initial investment. Any profits beyond that 100x cap, that would funnel right back into the nonprofit. It was a massive structural shift aimed at one thing, raising immense capital. So, did it work? Absolutely. This controversial but incredibly strategic pivot immediately paved the way for Microsoft to swoop in with a jaw-dropping $1 billion investment that very same year. OpenAI finally had its war chest. All right, let's look at the payoff in Section 4, the era of GPT models. With the capital secured, we enter an era defined by an almost aggressive release schedule. It was a relentless push of innovation from 2018 through 2024, focusing entirely on their generative pre-trained transformers, or as we all know them, GPT models. Follow this timeline with me. In 2018, bam, GPT-1 drops. Literally just a year later, GPT-2 hits the scene, dramatically improving text generation and cutting down on AI hallucinations. Then in 2020, GPT-3 arrives with some seriously mind-blowing natural language comprehension. Then comes the real watershed moment, November 2022, the launch of ChatGPT, followed almost immediately by the highly advanced GPT-4 in 2023. It's like a snowball turning into an avalanche. And I really want you to grasp the sheer scale here. We are not just talking about minor software tweaks. We're talking about exponential parameter growth. GPT-1 was built on 117 million parameters. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, GPT-2 jumped to 1.5 billion, and then GPT-3 absolutely exploded to 175 billion parameters, analyzing 45 terabytes of data compared to its predecessor's 40 gigs. The scale of the math happening behind the scenes is genuinely staggering. And all of that underlying architecture culminated in a milestone that literally changed the world. When ChatGPT launched in November 2022, It hit 100 million active users in just 2 months. Just 2 months! For context, it took Instagram 2.5 years to hit that exact same milestone. This was it. This was the exact moment generative AI firmly captured the global mainstream consciousness. Let's wrap things up in Section 5, the global impact of AI. So, what does this all mean for us? This unbelievable explosive growth is practically guaranteed to face some friction. The entire industry is currently bracing for market consolidation. And OpenAI, this newly minted billion-dollar titan, has to navigate some massive legislative hurdles, from the real-world moral dilemmas of deploying AI to some incredibly complex copyright laws. OpenAI started with a nonprofit mission to protect humanity through transparency. Now, as a corporate juggernaut guarding its unbelievably powerful algorithms, you really have to wonder, will they continue to prioritize humanity, or will the demands of their trillion-dollar investors ultimately write their next chapter?